Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. We'll get back into more Emma and Ree content. Except this is not an Ember video, this is a Beck video. We actually have two. For some reason, YouTube was supposed to notify me, but they didn't, like usual. So we're going to be getting into this video, but before we do, I want to quickly preface by saying that I am a Beck fan. I do enjoy a lot of their content and their personality, and even though they have done some stuff in the past, I do think a lot of it was caused by Amber and just being in an environment where you have to deal with a narcissistic person. That being said, they have done stuff in the past that isn't really the best, and I believe that as long as they are changing and growing as a person and see that they have done wrong in the past and try to make amends, I think ultimately that's really the best you can do. Like, you can't go back and change the past, but you can certainly change your future with how you act and how you see yourself and how you really just developed as a good human being. Alright, that's enough prefacing. Let's get into the video and see what Beck is up to, shall we?
Hello, I know it has been a long time since you guys have heard from me, and this is going to be a little bit of a different video than normal. I know you're used to seeing my face.
I mean, honestly, either one. If you want to show your face, that's perfectly fine. If you want to do some speed drawings, I'm down for either, honestly.
I was really nervous to make this video, and I still am, but I thought it was really important to make it. So I sat down and I wrote everything down to help me organize my thoughts so it would come out more clearly, and I wasn't jumbling over my words or saying too much like I usually do.
Honestly, as someone who has a lot of filler words, most people don't care. They genuinely enjoy seeing and hearing you again, so I think they're going to just enjoy the content and really take it at face value. You know, if you make a couple of mistakes, who cares? You'll get better over time if you continue to do YouTube videos.
I'm just going to show you guys some speed drawings while I talk to you about what's going on and where I've been and so on. People have asked me a lot about why I don't make my own videos or live stream anymore. They want to know why I haven't used the platform that's been handed to me to make money.
I can understand why Beck wouldn't want to come back to YouTube, because no matter what they do with their YouTube channel or how far they try to get away from Amber, people are going to constantly bring it up. It's always going to be, do reaction channel videos. What about this topic? What do you think Amber's doing right now? How's your opinion on, you know, the current situation with Amber? It's always going to be one of those situations where it's going to be a never-ending circle of Amber. And honestly, they don't want to deal with that, and I completely understand.
And the main reason is because this community, even though a lot of you have been kind and supportive, has been and is very harmful and toxic mentally for me.
Yeah, that's very understandable too, because like, even though there's a lot of amazing supportive people in this community, there's also some people that just never seem to let things go. Also, there's some people that just genuinely like Amber for Amber and will attack anyone that disagrees with them, which I don't understand how anyone could really like Amber as a person unless they themselves are like Amber, which, I mean, pop off, I guess. I don't know why you would ever want to be that type of person or support that type of person, but I mean, you do you, I guess.
While I've grown as a person and have become more aware of the mistakes I've made in the past, it's become embarrassing to have ever been a part of Amber's life on and off YouTube.
One, that's savage. You bet Amber is probably seething at hearing that. And two, again, that's all you can really do for the future. It's like, you can't go back and change the past, but you can change how you're going to act in the future. And if you're willing to grow, change, and understand the things that you have done in the past weren't the best, that's really all you can do to be a better human being.
My goal after the breakup was to move on as an individual and separate myself from what happened in the past. But when that audience consists mainly of people who have heard of me from Amber's videos, separating the two while still existing online became impossible.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like I said that before, a lot of people are going to constantly bring up Amber no matter what Beck does. And no matter how far they get away from that situation, people are always going to be there to ask those same questions over and over again. Which is not completely the fault of the viewers too, because there are some people who genuinely don't know about Girl World, then come in and it's sort of fresh in their mind. So even though it was years ago, they're like, oh wow, like I want to know more. So it's going to be, you know, a revolving circle as long as those videos stay up. And you know that Amber is never going to stop cashing in on other people's misery.
A lot of people know of me from that time in my life, and I have had to accept that and keep moving forward. I went through a lot back then, and I made mistakes. It wasn't the person I wanted to be or who I am now. When I chose to go to KindaGoodKindaBeck's channel, it was because I wanted to tell part of my story in a way that was from a safer distance, so that I couldn't be accused of being a grifter or profiting off of it just for answering some questions.
I mean, yeah, that's also understandable, but at the same time, regardless of what you do, there's always going to be a select few people that say that you're going to e-beg, that you're trying to grift for money, that you're going to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you want that money, go for that money. Like, that's completely up to you and it's your decision. If you want to monetize the information that you have, that's perfectly fine. If you want to make a reaction channel and react to videos, that's perfectly fine. Like, if you are going to go somewhere to get paid for an interview, it's honestly completely up to you. And like, if you don't want to do those things, that's also okay. And if people want to donate, that's their money. They can do whatever they want with it. In the same way that if people don't want to donate, then that's completely fine as well.
I was offered no money from Karina's video, and I didn't expect any profit or fame from it. The reaction was still very mixed and hurtful, and I know I can't please everybody. I still felt like Amber's narcissism was being fueled by the people who would attack anyone remotely connected to her, no matter what role they played in her life.
Yeah, that's also true. Like, there's some people who will straight up attack anyone and everyone, regardless of who they are as a person, just because they associate with someone they don't like. And it's like, you can't immediately just assume that someone is a bad person. They may not necessarily know what Amber has done in the past. So you can't just assume that they themselves are associating with a bad person, knowing full well what everything they have done. There's also the aspect of dating a narcissistic person that is very combative. So if they are going to get a lot of criticism, then you're going to be defending them because they're going to turn you into a human shield. Like, you're going to absorb a lot of the criticism because they're not going to bear that responsibility alone. And for Beck, they were constantly defending someone they thought they loved, but they were just being manipulated by an abuser.
Even though she only keeps benefiting financially and growing her ego through this vicious cycle. It was discouraging, and I just stopped trying to speak up altogether. Even with the support of a lot of you, it was hard to not internalize the negative things being spread about me by Amber and others.
And it really is twofold because, one, human beings don't really have the capacity to understand what it is to be connected to billions of people. Like, social media is still a relatively new thing and our brains haven't evolved along with it. So we are still not able to fully comprehend what it is to have thousands, if not tens of thousands of people seeing the bad things that we do, criticizing us, putting us under a microscope. And then you add on that Beck also has chronic depression. It is a very suffocating situation.
I know that in my Q&A with Karina, I talked about the money Amber owed me. I never did see any of that money and still haven't. For a while, I was in contact with an attorney who claimed to be able to help me get the money back that I earned working for Amber, but it wasn't possible to serve her anything without an updated address.
No, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think there was any written contract. I think it was really just an oral contract, and it comes down to whether or not the state that you live in allows for oral contracts to be legally binding, which a lot of places don't really allow that. It means nothing unless it's in writing. So even if Beck was to take it to court, they probably wouldn't get any compensation, and if they have to pay for legal fees, then they may lose a bunch of money they don't necessarily have if they're banking on getting something in return.
More time passed, and with the distance growing between myself and the public, I just let it go. But recently I was told that Amber has started talking about me again. And the more time that passes, the more she believes that I'm being quiet because I'm weak. She lies about me because she thinks that she has power over me and that my fear of the public reaction will shut me up and that everyone will be left with no choice but to believe whatever lies she spread. Well, she's wrong about me, and she no longer has that power over me. I want to be the one who tells my story.
Honestly, like, there's no problem being scared to a degree. Like, it is something that is very terrifying for a lot of people. When you have so many faces on you and you don't really know where to start or what to say and you don't have that voice, it is a very hard thing to stand up for yourself. So finding your voice, hell yeah, I could definitely stand behind you 100%. Like, don't let Amber think they could put it one over you just simply because they think they have more power than you, because that's not true.
I'm going to show a screenshot of a live that Amber commented on about me and address some things. But first, I want to point out that she continues to use an incorrect name, even though she has been told that I don't go by that name anymore. I feel it's disrespectful to continue to call me by my old name, despite me saying myself that I now go by Beck, and her being corrected by viewers and reaction channels many times.
Honestly, I'm going to respect Beck and their pronouns. That's just how I am as a person. That being said, I'm not going to respect Emily because she doesn't want to be called Tommy. That's just something Amber called her. And it's not the same thing as either transitioning or changing your name because you don't like your name and you want it to be something else.
I'm not surprised, however, as she has never respected me or anything I've said before now. She also used incorrect pronouns, but I understand that I've stated in the past that I was okay with she, they pronouns. I'm stating now that I only use they.
Alright, too easy, I can do that.
So the first thing she said is, when we broke up, I felt bad, so I let her have all the money she needed, but Feline didn't like that, which made sense.
I don't believe that for a second, but let's just say for the sake of the argument that wifey said, no, Beck doesn't deserve any money. You need to keep the money. Don't give any to them. Why does wifey have a say in it? It's not her right to say anything about the money because she is not part of the conversation. And if Amber is a person of integrity, like she likes to claim she is, she would have gave Beck their money.
She gave me $100, and that's what I used to go get the U-Haul with. And I only had one day with that U-Haul because I didn't have enough money to pay for an extra day.
Honestly, like, how crappy is that? Imagine really being forced out of the home that you lived in for such a long time and not having any financial stability because your partner is financially abusing you. Like, you wanted to get a job, but they won't allow you to get a job because they need a live-in caretaker. But then when you need to leave because they're forcing you out, essentially, you have no money in order to move and pack up and leave. Like, that is such a shitty situation.
And I was trying to rush and pack everything that I could as quickly as possible, and I was running out of time, so I had a little breakdown and was crying about it, saying I didn't know how I was going to pay for extra time with the U-Haul because I didn't have the time to get everything, and she started laughing about it. So she was laughing about the fact that I couldn't afford to continue to have the U-Haul for longer.
What a goddamn POS. And like, I believe without a single doubt in my mind, that is something Amber would do. Like, in a situation in which Amber is no longer dating you, you're going to be nothing to her. You're going to be honestly, less than a stranger because you wronged her by breaking up with her. Like, she gave you the opportunity of you dating her and you threw that in her face. How dare you? That's like her type of mentality. And I mean, you don't have to take it from me. Take it from the live streams. Like, she showed that 100%.
So no, she obviously didn't feel bad. She didn't care at all. And she did not give me all the money that I needed, or else why would I have been struggling and crying about the fact that I couldn't afford to have the U-Haul longer?
She really has like the mental maturity and emotional maturity of like a toddler. Like, Jesus Christ, I've seen children with more empathy than this woman.
And about using the fundraiser money on my old car, that's exactly what I did. I got the car fixed because of that help, and I was extremely thankful for it. There was a little bit of money left over that I put toward bills like insurance and the car payment. The only portion used for anything else was the 12 or so dollars that Amber begged me to give her for the Netflix account I'd still been using.
I totally forgot about that. Like, that was such a dick move because like Amber had plenty of money to pay the bill. It was simply because Amber could just do one more mean thing before Beck left her life, so that way she could just pull one more over on Beck.
I was able to drive that car up until a few months ago because of those donations. I wouldn't have been able to do that without that help, and I will always be grateful for that. And side note, I did not have her debit card on me all the time. The only time I had it was whenever she would send me to do errands for her or to pick something up for her. And I always came back with a receipt to show her what had been bought with her debit card.
Oh god, I felt that in my soul because like I used to have someone in my life that used to do that, and it's like if I wasn't trustworthy and you didn't trust me, why in the hell would you give me unrestricted access to your money? The thing is, you do trust me, you just want to act like a piece of shit.
The next messages say, "Gosh, I could say so many things, but I can't." She said she would sue me, so I have to shut up, but people would be shocked and not believe a word I say. Gosh, I wonder why they wouldn't believe you, Amber. You have a history of lying, and you're doing the same thing right now. You have nothing on me, and I know that. I did threaten to sue you, but that was to stop you from relentlessly talking about me like you were. You had no reason to talk about me. I've come out and said things only in response to you bringing me up.
Amber often makes that argument, but the thing is, Amber is willing to spill the beans on anyone because, again, she's not going to take criticism alone, so she's going to throw everyone else underneath the bus too. And Amber is only afraid that someone's going to retaliate because they potentially have worse information on her. So Amber is always going to be that person of, well, you don't know the full story. No, we know the full story, we just don't see your perspective of the story.
The threat to sue did not stop you, as seen in this screenshot. You haven't said these shocking things because they don't exist. Anything you could possibly say truly would be a lie. I will no longer stay silent if you try to spread lies about me. I've told parts of my story, and it's all been true, and never said in an insulting way either. I have so many gross things that I've seen you do, both to me and the people in my life, that I've kept quiet about because those things are embarrassing or have something to do with very personal matters. Despite how you've treated me, I still have empathy. However, if you want to lie about me, I won't hold back. I'll be brutally honest about things I know about you.
And honestly, that's fine. Like, you don't have to go down to her level. You don't have to cut it down another peg. Like, you don't have to be someone who fights in the muck with her. Just be the better, more moral person, and people will see that.
The next comment, she said she had a job that was ruining her back. I told her she didn't have to go through that. I was helping her. I made a lot of money and wanted to take that burden off of her.
No, you just didn't want Beck to cheat on you like Destiny did. You also wanted a live-in nanny to take care of you.
Yes, in the beginning, she did make it seem that me quitting my job would be beneficial for my health and that it wouldn't be so hard on me anymore. But I learned very quickly that whenever I did quit my job, that it was just a control tactic. She said she wanted to be the main breadwinner. And all the things that she said I would be able to do, like see my family more, those things didn't happen.
Honestly, I don't necessarily agree with the mentality of being a breadwinner these days, especially when I have just seen so many situations that end badly. Now, I'm not saying that's every single situation and that your partner, because they are a breadwinner, is going to abuse you or leave you or cheat on you or whatever, but it's something I've just seen so many negative outcomes. I'm like, all right, no, you need some sort of to-go bag or contingency plan just in case it happens. And if someone is trying to manipulate you into not having a backup plan, think of it this way. You don't get insurance hoping or thinking that you're going to get into an accident. You just want to make sure that if something does happen, you're prepared to take care of yourself, your partner, and whatever situation comes along with it.
I was just stuck taking care of her. And whenever I talked about trying to get a job again, she would just guilt trip me and say, well, I need you here. I need you to help take care of me and to help me take care of the animals. She would just guilt trip me into not trying to find another job. And the only things she really would buy me is like food and candy and t-shirts. So
typically, I don't really agree with ultimatums because you're using your partner's feelings towards you as a way of getting something out of them. And I don't really agree with emotional manipulation at all, but I think this is definitely one of those situations where I can let it slide, because if you're supposed to be the stay-at-home partner, do all of these things while not getting any money, like, why should you continue suffering in that situation where you don't get anything, you barely have any money to survive, and the money that you do get is really just taken from you?
I mean, whenever I would try to save up change, she would say things like, "Is that your funds for when you leave me?" So I would even stop saving change to avoid that conflict with her.
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand why Beck wanted to take the path of least resistance, because if it's something that's nearly 24/7, where it's like you come home from work and it's just arguing to the point where you go to bed, and even sometimes you get woken up just to have another argument, it's like, why on earth do you want to continue it when you could just suffer in silence? But now I'm kind of in the mindset of where I used to be just, all right, take it, just sit there and take it, and let it be over and done with, and you can go about your day. Whereas now, I'm just going to stand up and leave. Like, if you're not going to talk to me with respect, I'm going to leave. And if you're going to follow me, then we can have an argument. But I can assure you, I'm not going to be standing there and just taking it. I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to argue just as much as you. And if you're willing to go low, I can go just as low too. And honestly, I can assure you, recently, I found out I can be a petty son of a bitch when I want.
In the end, me quitting my job wasn't about helping me. It was about controlling me and keeping me under her thumb. And she did keep me away from my family. And whenever I would go see my family, she would time me on when I had to be back. And if I wasn't back by that time, then it would be a fight for the rest of the night. And then the next time that I would try to leave to go see anybody else, she would guilt trip me and say things along the lines of I didn't care about her and that I cared more about everybody else other than her.
Honestly, like, thinking about that situation is like just straight up demented. Like, keeping someone away from their family members and their friends, their loved ones they care about and cherish, just because you have no one else in your life and you're butthurt over the fact that they are not giving you attention, is so messed up. Like, Amber, there is a special place in hell for people like you. Except knowing our luck, the devil himself would get sick of Amber's shit and send her up to heaven.
And then she said, if that makes me a bad guy, fine.
If that makes you a bad person, like, yes, Amber, that makes you a bad person for keeping someone under your thumb and financially abusing them, you dumbass.
I hear your opinion, and it makes sense based off of what you know. But your opinion would probably change if you knew everything. I thought I was doing the right thing. If I could go back, I'd do everything differently.
Yeah, you'd be even more sly about it and keep it off camera, so that way your abuse wouldn't be as known as it is today.
Saying, if that makes me the bad guy, is so obviously manipulative. You're framing what you did to me in this positive light so that it looks like your intentions were good when they weren't. You did a lot of bad. You said you'd do things different now, but you haven't taken any accountability.
And that is the goddamn truth, because Amber still has not made an apology to half the people she has screwed over. You have destroyed a lot of Beck's relationships, time with their mother that they no longer have because that person is gone. You took that from them. You took money, you took time, you took friends, you took family members, you took so much, and you still, to this day, cannot understand why people dislike you for the things that you have done. And when people have asked you, hey, what is something that you could have done to fix the relationship and stop you from being broken up with? You couldn't even think of one goddamn thing because you don't think you're the problem in this situation.
I feel like the only thing you would change is doing the exact same things in a way that would have made you look even better.
I have nothing to add to that except for, yep, that's the absolute truth.
And that's all I really wanted to say about the screenshot. I just wanted to respond to that so it didn't seem like, she was able to spread lies about me and me not speak up and fight for myself like she probably expected I wouldn't do. And something else I wanted to talk about was I just found out today that she lost Rarity, and that breaks my heart. Rarity was very special to me. I loved all three of those animals very much. Rarity was like my little shadow toward the end. She followed me everywhere I went, and it was hard to even leave her. And I know when Amber talked about moving to Oklahoma, she was scared that she could only find a place that allowed 2 animals. So she considered giving me Rarity, but that's not what ended up happening. And
I can't believe we were forced to endure that blubbering bullshit that Amber pulled, knowing full well that she was perfectly fine with giving up Rarity. My heart, my soul, my ass.
I sometimes wish that I would have gotten her, because now who knows where Rarity is.
And that's honestly the saddest thing. Like, I can imagine Beck having some sort of, like, survivor's remorse, because it's like, you could have took that cat, you could have looked after that cat, but you were kind of just not given the opportunity, and now that you didn't fight for her, she's potentially gone. And it's not Beck's fault, it's all completely Amber's fault. It's just something that stays in the back of your mind, like, what could I have done to make sure that that cat would have been safe?
Before I get to talking about myself, I want to leave some advice for anyone going through a narcissistic abusive relationship. The most important thing is that you don't feel isolated. That goes for any relationship. If you feel like something is wrong, but you don't feel like your partner wants you to tell anyone else about it, that is a red flag. That's when it's important to talk to your friends and family about what's happening. You can get so engulfed in abuse that you don't even see what's happening to you. Having an outside perspective and a good support system is key to finding the strength to leave.
Oh, Amber is just seething at that. Now, I quickly want to tag on the end. It doesn't matter where it's coming from and who it's coming from. Abuse is abuse and should never be tolerated. If it's a man on a woman on a man on a man, a woman on a woman, if it's your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your cousins, your brothers or sisters, your grandparents, doesn't matter. Abuse should never be tolerated, and get help when you are able to get help in a safe manner.
For a while now, I've been focusing on myself and my loved ones. I live somewhere new. I have new friends and a new love and a new job that has been amazing and personally fulfilling. I've been finding new hobbies and working through my grief and dealing with my mental health, trying to live a normal life. In a few weeks, I go in for surgery to have a biopsy done on the lumps on my thyroid. I'm happy to finally be taking care of my health in that way. I've been more happy these past few months than I've been in years.
Alright, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think that is an amazing thing. That being said, there is about 2 minutes left, so I am worried something bad is going to happen in a moment.
But life still isn't kind or easy. My old car finally started to give out on me, and that was nerve-wracking. But through hard work and a bit of luck, I was able to finance a new vehicle.
Oh, please don't tell me you're going to write off the new one. Like, I can't imagine just getting a new car and then writing it off. That would be so goddamn sad. Like, please, anything else but that.
Unfortunately, I've been facing more hardships lately. Winter storms that this area hasn't seen in years had us snowed in for almost 2 weeks. A few days after returning to work, we started feeling sick and tested positive for COVID.
Alright, I mean, that's not too bad. Like, yes, they're going to be away from work. Yes, they're going to be dealing with a little bit of financial difficulty, but please only just be that.
I'm just now recovering, but because of all of that, I haven't been able to work my usual hours and I have suffered financially. Just a couple days ago, on my way to get groceries, my car slid on ice while driving.
Oh no, I knew that was right around the corner. They were setting it up and I knew that was gonna happen. Dude, I'm so sorry.
The car went into a ditch, airbags deployed. The car landed on its side. Insurance deemed it totaled and does not cover rentals while the settlement is decided.
Getting a new car after the old one breaks down and just totaling it in a couple months, like I feel so bad for them.
Luckily, I'm physically okay, but I'm scared again for the future, unsure of how I'll be able to keep my job, get to work these next few weeks, how I'm going to get a different car if the settlement isn't more than what I owe, since I've only had this for 2 months, or pay upcoming bills. Circumstances right now are difficult. Before, I know this kind of thing would have felt like the end, like I'm going to lose everything all over again. But even though I can't see a clear path forward, I'm still hopeful. I've never before had that feeling that I could fight for my situation to get better until now. I'm glad that I've made the progress I have, even if this feels like a huge step backward.
Yeah, honestly, mate, it is a bit of a step backwards. Like, dealing with that situation is tough, but at the same time, having that energy in which you feel like you can continue going on, that is something special. Like, the fact that you now have that proves that you are growing as a person, that you are getting better, that your mentality and your mental health is getting better. So, like, that is good in some regard.
And I know people are going to say I'm begging on the internet again, but I'm trying to use this opportunity to clear some things up and help myself at the same time. I made this video because I know I can't entirely escape my past. None of us can. But at least maybe I can use it to try and better myself. It will be a month or two before I can make anything from this video, so if you want to help me out, I'll leave my Cash App in the description. You don't have to send money, but please be kind and think of me as a person who is trying, just like you.
Alright, so I do have to give back slight criticism about the situation, and I don't believe they're doing it in a negative 10. There is no malice behind it. I think they're just being 100% like transparent about the situation and talking about why they need help. The thing is, some people are going to see you putting that first as a way of emotionally manipulating people into getting money out of them. And again, I don't think that way, but the people that do think that way, who have a negative perception of you, is going to take it and run with it. And in the future, it's best to put that last. That way, people who say that stuff have less of a cause to say those things, because even though it's not the way it's intended, some people are just going to take it and run with it. Now, that being said, obviously that's not going to change everyone's opinion of you, but I think it's more so the best way to go about it.
I'm not sure when I'll post again. I don't know if I'm built for constant content creation. Sometimes the burden of an audience can be all too much. But let me know if there's more you want to hear or see from me. Thank you for listening and taking the time to watch this. I hope you enjoyed the art that I was able to show you guys. I use Procreate, by the way. And I know it's been a long time since you've heard from me, and hopefully the next time you hear from me won't be so serious. Thank you for listening.
Alright guys, come to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully Beck will thrive soon. Like, that's all I can really hope for. It's good to hear from them, and I hope they will do better in the future. That being said, again, thank you for watching, and hopefully get to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.